Welcome to Your Number Man, where we share financial strategies, business insights, and inspiring stories to help you navigate a successful business. I am your host, Johan, and my goal is to help you achieve a bigger life in business. Well, today we've got a very special guest coming back to the show again. He is definitely no stranger. We had him in season 1. His name is Rob Chisholm, and Rob is my very good mate at the Polaris Business Centre, a great mentor with years and years of wisdom and experience in business. We had a very vibrant discussion the last time about small business entrepreneurship and business numbers. And please go back to that episode. That was our 3rd episode, and it was broadcast on the 15th of April. He's got a vast experience in staff issues, productivity, profit generation, and he's really very clued up in marketing as well. Rob started his first business at the age of 27, which was Allied Windows, and then later on in life started Miniscaf safety platform. Today's discussion is going to be marketing, and a lot of people might ask me, well, marketing and numbers, how does this relate? I believe marketing is such an integral part of your business because the whole idea is to increase your bottom line. And in order to have a good grasp of it, you have to understand it. It makes a profound impact on your business. So, Rob, welcome back to our podcast.
Thanks, Johan. Good to be here.
Great. You're no stranger to the show, but please explain a little bit about Polaris and what you're currently busy doing there. Been a lot of new, exciting developments at Polaris.
Johan, well, as you know, Polaris is a part of the city of Salisbury, and I believe that Salisbury is one of the most progressive local governments in doing what they're doing. We also get quite substantial support from the Office of Family and Small Business, which is state government, and that enables us to roll out our programs. And our programs consist of primarily running a business fundamentals workshop, which we do or will be doing shortly, twice a month. That leads to mentoring programs. We have a mentoring program called Ignite, which runs for 3 months. And each of these presently are subsidised by the state government. And we have a program called Mentoring for 6 months. And we also run an advanced program called AMP. The acronym AMP stands for Advanced Management and Mentoring. That's for perhaps larger businesses up to about 11, 12 million. So it's a pretty exciting time. When the state government came into power back a couple of years ago, one of the first things they did was they ran a survey around small business. What came back was the demand for mentoring. Mentoring is an important thing. We won't go into it now, Johan.
But you did explain the last time. Yeah.
It's not coaching, it's not training, it's not counselling. It's a different process altogether. So that's what Polaris is doing, and we invite anybody to jump on our website, polarisbusinesscentre.com.au, and join our programs.
Yeah, and it's not only restricted to people in Salisbury northern suburbs. I mean, you've been to Kangaroo Island, you've been to Mount Barker.
Yes.
You're going to go down to Mount Gambier as well at some stage? Or?
Well,
it's on the cards.
That depends. But we have now put together a panel of mentors who are already existing business owners, and you're one of them.
No, we're looking forward to that. We'll put all the information on the show notes as well. So people, if you're out there and need a little bit of guidance in terms of your business, get in touch with the Polaris Centre and we'll definitely show you the way. So, Rob, today we're going to talk about a very, very important and interesting part of business, and that is marketing. In your words, what do you believe marketing is?
Well, I came up with this saying, and a lot of so-called expert marketers might disagree with me. Marketing is the activity you do that enables you then to sell your product or service. The marketing is the activity that creates for you the opportunity to sell your product or service. So there is a distinction between marketing and sales. In my first business, I didn't fully understand that. And I think it is pretty essential for a business owner to get their head around that. Sales is not marketing and marketing is not sales. When we make that distinction, I think things become a lot clearer and we know what energies to put where and perhaps when we need to. You can have all the great marketing in the world, but if you don't have the sales to back it up, then a lot of the money you spend on marketing is wasted. Marketing, as I said, there's two separate. It's like two people dancing, and they have to dance to the same rhythm, but they're separate. One partner is perhaps doing something slightly different to the other, but they have to dance together. And that's where marketing and sales come together in that dance to affect the sale, because that's the ultimate, to affect the sale.
You got to marry them together.
They've got to be in rhythm, dancing together. If I can give an example, one of my friends used to run a very, very large electrical business. And the marketing department said, we're going to open at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning because we've got this super big special where we're running 50% off or something like that, right?
Yes.
But marketing failed to tell sales. So the salespeople rocked up at 9, as they normally do on a Saturday. So there's hundreds of people out the door who arrived at 8 o'clock, right, wanting to get in to take advantage of the super deal. Now, what would you do if you rocked up at 8 and the salespeople didn't come and open the doors till 9? Now, there is an obvious and blatant example of where marketing and sales did not work well together. See?
So it's very important to keep that communication as well.
Yes.
Right? And I know there's probably a lot of people out there that look at business from a different point of view. They almost say, you know, in everything that you do, sometimes you got to have the masculine and the feminine. Perhaps the sales is like the upfronting, that's the masculine, and the marketing is more the nurturing, and that could be the feminine, perhaps.
Well, getting into a bit of psychology there, Johan.
No, I'm not gender, but it's the masculine and feminine.
Well, they got, yes,
feminine,
it's got and the outcome is, of course, a sale.
Yeah. Now, Rob, obviously the whole marketing concept, it's been revolutionized in the middle of the 20th century. There's been a lot of books written. I studied myself marketing in the late 80s, and it's been drilled into me in terms of the 4 Ps. Some people agree with it, some people don't. Some people say it's, you know, the marketing mix is your 4 Ps is your price, your product, your promotion, and your place. It's very important. And a lot of people arguing about how important is the 4 Ps, but I think you've got one big P that stands out for you. What is your view on this, and what is your big P?
Well, I think in our former podcast, I talked about what's the primary purpose or function of a business.
Yes.
And I mean primary purpose and function of a business. And when I ask that question in my workshop, I'll get answers like, to make a profit, to offer a good service, to serve your clients. Well, that's all well and good, but the primary function or purpose of a business is to attract, to make, and to keep customers. Because if you don't have customers, you can't make a profit. If you don't have customers, you can't offer good service.
Yes.
And so the attraction in that is, and again, I may have repeated, but it is so important. Your listeners probably need to hear it. The attraction is marketing. The making, of course, is sales. And the keeping is doing all the good work of quality and being on time and customer service to the extent that they will go and tell other people. So it's a cyclical, to attract, make, and keep customers. And therefore, in my view, the attraction, which is marketing now, the big P in that is perception. How does your public out there perceive your brand or what you're promoting? And it was Lee Iacocca, I think his name was. He was the chief of Chrysler.
He worked at Ford as well, wasn't he?
Well, his big success came with Chrysler.
All right.
And when I saw that, when I heard him say marketing is perception, or in fact all marketing is perception, I thought, what? But when I got into it and I realized how true that was, it's how we perceive what is being offered or promoted. An example is the difference between the badge of Toyota and the badge of Mitsubishi. If those two badges were thrown up on a screen, you and I more than likely would have the same perception on one or the other.
Yeah.
But is it true? Not necessarily, but it's not necessarily untrue either. How cleverly one of them in particular, and you probably know which one stands out
Yeah.
for reliability, resale value, is because they did such a good job at marketing.
At marketing.
Yes, but it
Yeah.
is still perception. Perception is a personal thing. What you perceive and what I perceive, it could be two different things, but neither could be wrong. See?
Yeah.
So the clever marketer creates that perception.
That's great. And the whole idea about marketing is you got to understand your needs of your customers, or create a need for that matter. You know, you talked about cars. When you think about why is a BMW twice the price sometimes of a Toyota Corolla, is because you just don't feel like James Bond when you're driving a Toyota Corolla, but you might feel like James Bond driving a BMW, but it comes back to the perception.
That's right. And Henry Ford once said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Yeah.
Right? So he went beyond that and came up with the automobile, which of course is far, far faster than the horse, right? So it was understanding the need or the desire, but then coming up with something that even way exceeds the potential customer's understanding. Okay, so we did this back with our miniscaf product, right?
Yes.
The second highest deaths around the home was caused through falls from ladders. The first was electrocution. So we came up with this little product called the miniscaf, which you could put in the boot of your car. You could build it in a matter of minutes, and you could stand on a platform that was very safe to work from, even up to 3-4 meters, doing gutters on a 2-story house, right? And of course, what did we sell? What were we selling? We weren't selling the miniscaf as such.
No.
We were selling safety. We were selling comfort. Our image that we would portray either on our brochure or the TV ads we did was someone with a paintbrush in one hand and a cup of coffee in the other. We did this advert with this local former footballer climbing a ladder carrying a watermelon. But the watermelon was disguised as a basketball. And so the first thought people would say was, what's that AFL footballer carrying a basketball? And he gets up top of the ladder and he looks down at the camera and he says, if I fell, I wouldn't bounce. And he drops the watermelon.
Yeah.
But people think it's a basketball, right? Hits the ground, splatters everywhere. And the image was beautiful. We had an image from the top, an image from the side to see the meat of this watermelon just scattering, right? And the next image was him on the miniscaf with his coffee. And he said, I use a miniscaf.
Yeah.
Right? I think we released that ad on a Friday. The following Monday, we had people lined up at our showroom, literally lined up. If I was big enough and I had marketing departments and sales departments back then, what the marketing department could have done was like brush their hands together and say, hey, sales department, we've done our job. We've got the inquiries. Now you make sure you sell. Can you see the difference? So we got the inquiries by creating the perception, by creating the danger, and we certainly made no apologies for that because who knows, the miniscafs could have saved hundreds of lives, right? But we created that image of how dangerous working from ladders were.
Yes.
And then our salespeople were trained then to turn those inquiries into sales.
Now, Rob, staying on that topic, I'm a numbers man, and this is the Number Man podcast. Did you actually go back to the numbers as well and said, well, we can either run this ad campaign, run a discount campaign as well? And how did that affect your bottom line? Did you actually sit down and say, okay, if you drop the price, your gross profit will probably go down, but it's going to increase your sales profoundly?
It's all relative, yes.
Yeah.
Well, when we did television back in those days, I used to do TV campaigns just immediately after Christmas when you could buy TV a lot cheaper in those days. Now, this is before social media and stuff. And we would spend $20,000, $30,000 in January and February, which, you know, for a time, we were only a little business. I employed 12 people. And we would sell enough product to take us right through till June, right, in that campaign. Now, in that campaign, we would always offer an incentive, and as they say, a call to action, and it would be we'd throw in free adjustable legs or generally it was a discount. It was 10% off, and they were genuine discounts. But because we'd get the volume was just like 3-4 times more than we'd normally do. The further we got away from our expenses, and this is why I bang on about percentages being so important, keeping an idea of your percentage, your gross profit percentage, your expenses percentage, your cost of sales percentage, we could actually show a better bottom line because of the increased volume. I wasn't increasing expenses. I was still paying the same rent. In fact, even in my factory, I might have been doing a bit more overtime, but I really wasn't putting any more people there. I was becoming more efficient, and that resulted in higher profit.
That's great. Thanks. And staying on percentages, marketing does work, but only 50% of the kind of marketing does work. Now, obviously, if I got $10,000 to put into a campaign, I want to make sure I'm going to put that $10,000 in a campaign and I'm going to get it back plus a return. How would you make sure that you are, not barking up the wrong tree with your investment in marketing?
Well, if someone said to me, if you get 50% value out of your marketing, you're doing well, I would say, well, I don't want 50%. I want 100%.
Exactly.
Right? And to think you're going to settle for 50% is starting out from the wrong position to start with. So the first thing businesses generally don't do is research. And research is the key to your marketing. So first of all, it's identifying a need and exploiting the need, like I just explained with a miniscaff.
Yes.
There was a product that was not available. Nobody had ever come up with the concept of taking the ugly big scaffold from the building site and turning it into a domestic product that you could fit in the boot of your car. No, never thought of before. So first of all, you have to have a point of difference. And that was, in that case, a very big point of difference. And then you've got to sell that point of difference.
Yes.
Again, the issue of safety and people wanting to be safe and comfortable. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. So what you're saying is you've got to do the research and make sure that you understand your market. That will probably give you a better idea what kind of medium do you use. Back in our day, it was radio, TV, your newspaper. You can get a young kid to go around and put stuff in post boxes as well. Today, it's totally different with digital marketing, Google or Facebook ads or SEO, whatever you choose. But at the end of the day, it's still the same.
If you've done my Business Fundamentals workshop, where we talk about marketing, I have what I call the 6 serving men. And that's a little ditty or poem that Rudyard Kipling, back at the turn of the century, came up with.
Yep.
It goes like this. I have 6 serving men. They tell me what to do. Their names are what and why and where and how and who. Right. And if we use those 6 serving men, and I'm not being sexist here because that was the name of his little poem.
Yeah.
So we could say the 6 serving persons.
Yes.
Is that if we start with the what are you selling? And to quote the famous marketer Theo Levitz, he said, well, if you go to the hardware store to buy a 1/4-inch drill bit, what are you buying?
I know the answer, but
you're buying a hole.
A hole, yes.
In fact, specifically, you're buying a 1/4-inch hole.
Yes.
So therefore, that's what you market, right?
Yeah.
So what are you selling? And that's where in miniscaff, we weren't just saying, here's a scaffold.
Yes.
We didn't even call it a scaffold because they hang people from scaffolds. We called it a work platform, right? Can you see the nuance there? What we were selling was safety and comfort. That's number one. Then you go to whom are you selling? Well, we weren't selling to people who were 25 living in apartments. We identified where our market was and who they were. So you answer the what, the who, the when, the where, and the why. When you've answered those 5 W's, then and only then can you answer the how. How am I going to reach these people? I'm not going to advertise in Reykjavik, Iceland, but hey, I am in South Australia. Maybe I can put ads in the Sydney paper or whatever, which we did actually. And that's the where, right? The who they are, what age group, what socioeconomic. So answer those 5 W's first, and each of those you've got to work hard on, and then you'll come up with a how. I wish I had social media back when I had Miniscaf, right? In fact, it was just coming in when I sold out.
Yes.
I would have used that Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, you would have had a field day, wouldn't you?
We already had a thing called the Miniscaf Club, right?
Yeah.
And we'd have competitions on
Yeah.
how people could use their Miniscaf other than being a safety work platform
Yes.
and stuff like this. And marketing is being creative.
What would your advice be for people?
They must answer the 5 W's and be absolutely honest with themselves, right? And the first thing they've got to look for is this point of difference. What is the point of difference that they have? Agonize over that till they find it.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't got that point of difference, then you're really behind the 8 ball to start with. If you haven't got it, create a point of difference that's going to make you stand out from the rest of your competitors, like we did with the Miniscaf. We didn't have any competitors. With my first business, Alulite Windows, we had stacks and stacks of competitors, but nobody was doing what we were doing. We were doing window replacement pretty much exclusively. We weren't selling windows to builders or blocks of flats or whatever. We were building special size windows to go into existing homes. Again, nobody had been doing that.
Yeah, you found a point of difference.
That was a big point of difference.
Or as they would say in marketing, a unique selling proposition, a USP.
Yes.
A unique selling point.
I like
trying to
into the textbooks there, Johan.
Yeah, I know. I want to sound clever here, but textbooks is one thing, but I reckon what we really got to do is see what works, and sometimes it's just trusting your instincts and go back into experience.
Well, with marketing, it is the activity you do that creates for you the opportunity to sell your product or service. So you could spend millions of dollars in marketing, but if you aren't backed up by proper sales, turning those inquiries into orders, you're wasting money and time.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So there has to be that synchronicity between marketing and sales. You've got to have your price correct. You've got to understanding what your overheads are so that you can turn all of this into a healthy profit.
Yes.
That's why marketing is so important, because of the attraction. See, again, marketing is attraction, selling is the making, and of course, all the good work that you do in providing the service,
yes,
which still involves marketing, means that they'll go out and tell other people about you and your business. And as I said in the last podcast, Johan, oh boy, if I had understood this back even in my first business, what I'm talking to you about now, the mistakes I probably would have avoided. But hey, that's life, don't we? We learn from our mistakes, don't we?
Yeah. And you can have a bit of a different kind of outlook on this. It's like, stuff is not happening to me, it's happening for me. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's
going to open another door for you.
In business, if you're not thinking positively,
yes,
then I'd say get the hell out of being a business owner, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got to constantly be looking for the better way. You've constantly got to be looking for the sun that's going to maybe arise over the horizon one day. And it was a little ditty I just picked up recently, and it said, "Our mind is the garden. Our thoughts are the seeds. We can plant flowers or we can plant weeds."
That is very profound.
So we are not our thoughts. We can control our thoughts. But when we allow the thoughts to take over, and one negative thought leads to another, to another, to another, the old saying that you've got to have 10 positives to combat one negative is probably true. In business, you've got to have that positive mindset. And I've been there myself. On a certain time, I didn't have money to pay payroll, to meet payroll. Monday had come around and payday was Thursday, and there's no money to meet pay.
Yeah.
I won't go into the details of it, but I did meet it, but I had to do some amazing things to achieve it.
Yeah.
And then, a few good breaks came along. So going into business, and that's what I say in our business fundamentals course, and a lot of them we get in tenders, and I say business is not for the faint-hearted. What we do in the business fundamentals is that we challenge people, we hope we inspire, we hope we motivate, but we also believe we inform. And I've had people come up to us after that workshop and say, "Look, Rob, that was great. No, we're not going ahead. Looks all too hard." 52% of businesses fail within the first 3 years. So if we out at Polaris can help prevent or reduce that percentage of failure rate, then I believe we're doing a good job.
And I think you're very inspirational.
Thank you.
I mean, it's so great. I remember when I started my first business at the age of 29, came out of uni, thought I was clever enough, but I had the same problem as you. You're running around on Wednesday afternoons to pick up checks because I know payroll is the Thursday morning. And I wish there was places around like Polaris that gives you this wealth of information.
We say if they don't have the tools, now marketing is obviously a tool, having the ability to turn that inquiry into a sale, that's a tool. Understanding the importance of gross profit, that's a tool. And if you don't have those tools in your toolbox, it's very, very hard. You're going out there, as it were, to build the house and you've got no tools.
Yeah.
And all you've got is your bare hands. And that's where, again, probably those 52% that fail in the first 3 years don't have the adequate tools. But there are places out there like Polaris that can provide those tools, because you need a lot more than enthusiasm to succeed in business, particularly in this day and age with increased competition and high costs and all those things. It is very, very challenging, and I would want to deter people, but I'd want to make it clear to them of what they're up against. But the end result, and I've seen it with my clients, is I get such a thrill out of seeing my clients kick goals and win, and when I'm helping them through the bad times. But for the business themselves, I don't know whether there's anything more rewarding in life than what business can offer, in the sense of you're helping people, you're putting roof over people's heads with the wages they receive, they're helping to pay their mortgage, they're sending their kids to school, and, it's small business is the lifeblood of our economy.
It is.
When you're out there helping people to do better, and those businesses are doing better, then I tell you, it's so enriching.
It is.
Yeah. I wouldn't swap my job for anything.
Yeah. You love it. You love it. I love my job as well. It's fantastic. Just the inspiration that I see from people trying to eventually kick those goals. So let's get back to the marketing, CRM, customer relationship management systems. What is your take on it? Is CRM very important in your overall marketing strategy?
Well, CRM is exactly what it is, a client relationship manager. It's a software, and there's various out there to suit different businesses. So in marketing, it's more generally deemed probably a sales tool, than marketing. But if we're looking at marketing as being that whole activity that permeates the whole business, then CRM comes relative to marketing, is that you're looking after your existing clients. So if you've got a new product that comes on board, your CRM should have all your clients on there, who they are, where they are, what they are. And then if you link this to a MailChimp type system, you can then send out a newsletter, you can send out a report on your new product. So that's marketing to existing clients. Now, if those existing clients pick it up, they're going to tell somebody else. Right?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Marketing.
Yeah.
So therefore, if the phone rings and they say, look, I heard about this new product, again, that's marketing, you see. So sales still has to take over and sell it. So a CRM is a brilliant tool to bring it all together, because you can't keep it all in your head. Like, do you know that your number one client, his birthday is on a certain day? Now, your CRM is going to tell you that. Pops up, it's Bill McDonald's birthday. Bill McDonald gets a little message from you. Happy birthday, Bill. Hope it goes well. Hey.
Yeah.
A competitor of yours goes around and tries to talk Bill into changing. He's not going to. Why? You have created a relationship, and you've done that by simple things, recognizing even when Bill's birthday is. Now, a lot of that, Johan, today is lost.
It is
sadly.
Lost. Although it is one place, a tool business, who sends me out a little invite to come into the shop for my birthday, and I get $10 off. And
well, that's clever marketing.
That's great, and I'll go to them rather than go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's clever marketing.
It's total tools.
There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
Not the cheapest place, but they got great tools there.
Johan, you've just given us a great example of marketing, network marketing.
Oh man, it's so much to talk about. Rob, great to have you back in the studio.
What's the next subject, Johan?
The next subject would be I reckon, well, we got to bring it back to numbers eventually. We can talk about budgeting perhaps. You and I go out to clients and we sometimes do a strategic plan. It always comes back to the budget. And we recently mentioned, it's good to have a bit of a ghost budget as well.
You like that one, do you?
I like the ghost budget. To say a what-if scenario.
So we can talk about the stretch budget.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about the ghost budget.
Okay.
Right? We'll let that hang. What's a ghost budget?
Yeah.
What's a stretch budget?
Well, that thrilling, exciting podcast coming up. We're going to leave you at that. And I really hope you got a lot of takeaways out of today. I really feel rejuvenated in marketing. And Rob, thanks a lot. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Johan. I look forward to my next visit.
Okay, great. Thank you. Cheers. Well, thanks for listening to the show. I really hope you got some great takeaways from it. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe to the show. It would be great if you can share it. You can also look me up on socials. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And you can also get in touch with me on my website, which is www.yournumberman.com.au. And you can get in touch with me as well. I'll definitely get back to you. See you next time. Cheers.